This is Internet Business Mastery, episode 112.
In a world where bosses control your life and thoughts of escape fill your mind, where inspiration seems dead and cynicism rules the masses, you have a desire to break free. You feel the need to take control. Now, there exists a place where the secrets of freedom and wealth are given to those who believe. InternetBusinessMastery.com. Free your mind.
Hello and welcome to Internet Business Mastery Online at InternetBusinessMastery.com. I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And we're here to help you escape the 9-to-5 and live the lifestyle of your dreams by turning your life's passion into a profitable internet business, even if you're just getting started today. And on this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about how to break the cycle of procrastination and finally take action. And in the quick tip, we have some really good free content from our most recent top mentor. And we'd like to remind you that if you'd like to get a jump start on creating your own profitable internet business using our proven system, you can claim your risk-free trial membership to the Internet Business Mastery Academy by going to freeaudiogift.com. So Jay, it's just coming up on the new year here. What's going on?
Indeed, can't believe it. 2010 is all but gone. So I guess it's that time of year to start thinking about what we want to make happen in 2011. People start thinking about goals and things, which actually reminds me of something interesting, how, a little while back we talked about, and this pertains a little bit to the episode today. A little while back we talked about how one thing that's important for reaching your goals and higher levels of success is actually forming new habits. That it's not about willpower, it's not about self-discipline. We have lots of self-discipline, it's just that we're currently perhaps disciplined to habits that are not in accordance with the goals that we want to achieve. And so it's interesting that at the beginning of the year, we make a list of who knows how many things, a half a dozen or 10 or 20 or maybe 30 or more different things that you want, goals that all of a sudden you want to change. You start going to the gym, you start doing all these different things. Maybe you start eating better. Maybe you start calling your family more, whatever it might be. But it's hard to actually form 20 habits all at the same time. That really the most effective thing is every 30 days to form a new habit. That's about how long it takes. But it's still, probably a good idea to think about what do you want things to look like at the end of the year as you start a new year. I mean, it is a time of new beginnings, I guess. But I don't know, what's been on your mind when it comes to new goals in the new year?
Well, usually my goals are pretty similar each year. It's a progression of just some main regular stuff from the year before. One thing that this year I've been thinking about is how to make life more wonderful for me and my family, which is a completely different way of thinking of it, and comes from a book called Nonviolent Communication that I've been really going through lately. Just the idea of how do I make my life more wonderful, like actually thinking of it that way instead of I want to make X amount this year in money or
right.
whatever. And it's interesting because after 5 years of internet business, I'm finally looking at lifestyle upgrades and even environment upgrades, things that I'd never really had time or money to do before. For instance, during the holiday season, it's been a few years since I've put up a Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. And this year, my kids and I went crazy decorating for that holiday, which, we haven't done for a while. And even just going and letting them completely redecorate their rooms, because when they would basically come to my house, it looked like they lived with a single father.
Right.
They'd have one picture on the wall and pretty stark. And we went with my sister and let them just go crazy decorating from all these different places and just stuff that I normally, all my goals and that kind of stuff was just all based on big upgrade goals and get healthy, make more money, that kind of stuff. And finally, it's gotten to the point where I can, look at these other type of lifestyle and environmental upgrades. So that's been kind of exciting.
Yeah, very cool. Well, maybe that's something I'll have to, a new way of looking at things that I'll have to consider as well. Yeah, it's always nice to think about, the how much do I want to make? I mean, that's a nice concrete number. It is a metric, but it is good to have something more meaningful to think about, to aim for. It's like, well, okay, well, what does that money mean for you in terms of your life being more wonderful, or the freedoms that you'll enjoy, or, what's your environment going to look like, or things like that. So I like that. Good stuff.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, for me, it was like maybe the first couple of years of internet business were basically based on struggle and progression to, let's say escape the 9 to 5 and replace your income. And then a next level was to be able to catch up on the government theft, or I mean taxes, that comes. So it took a couple of years to make sure all of that is correct. And, it's like all the different progressions that happen when you're doing business. Then if you do things right and really go for it and take action, and of course not procrastinate like we're going to talk about now, there comes a point where there's a little extra. Right. And you can start thinking about things that you weren't, thinking about in the first few years, like this environmental upgrade and the real lifestyle design. Because, right away I was able to get the lifestyle design of being able to work from home and not have an alarm clock and stuff like that. But, really upgrading, things around you and making things more beautiful and more wonderful around you was just something I never had the chance to think of as I was trying to, get my 40-something% in taxes, because most of the money was gone to that instead. So yeah, it's really exciting to get to this.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned overcoming procrastination. That's the topic for today. So let's go ahead and dive right into talking about that.
Oh, shoot. I was going to hopefully do it later.
Ha ha.
Dorky. Okay, let's go.
And now, the features segment.
So recently I was going through the Academy forums and the mastermind community there and kind of seeing what people were talking about, answering a few questions, etc. And there was a topic that jumped out at me. And the title of the topic was, how do you break the cycle? Action versus procrastination. And, I'm sure it stuck out to me because I know that's something that I struggle with sometimes. I think it's something that rears its head every once in a while in life and business. No matter how far along you are in personal development, how far along you are as an entrepreneur, it's still something that pops up and that we all have to remind ourselves about sometime. I think procrastination is just a part of the human condition that comes along with, the day-to-day of things. But I thought it would be good. It was interesting to kind of see what a few of the people said, and I chimed in and shared a couple things in the forum there. But I thought, that would make a really good episode of the show, so we could talk about, because wherever somebody is in their business, there's something that they might be struggling with, jumping in and getting it done, and finally, making that next step. So whether it's somebody listening to this thinking, man, I just got to finally get around to starting my new business, or to making this happen, or making a big change in my life, or whether it's somebody who already has a bit of a business started, but still is just, trying to get around to that next big thing, that next step, that next product that they want to launch, or that next partnership that they want to put together, whatever the case may be. So we decided to go ahead and talk about in this episode how to break the cycle of procrastination and finally take action. And there's 5 specific strategies or areas of this that we want to talk about today. So the first one is a phrase that I really like. I know that this one hangs me up sometimes, and that is to focus on starting rather than on the finishing. I mean, we do talk about, we just got done talking earlier in this episode about, thinking about, what would you like life to look like at the end of 2011? And what are some of the things you'd like to make happen during this next year? But that's good to have that vision and motivation in mind. But then when you go to take action, if you have in mind all those things that you want to do, it can be very, very overwhelming. It can start being crushing. So at the moment of action, you got to start focusing now just on the starting. Or also another way to put that is to focus on the next action, which is actually one of the best lessons I learned from the book Getting Things Done, and that is to break all projects, all things that you're trying to get done, down into next actions. And so on your little to-do list, it should be just a list of the next actions in each of the different projects to take. And a next action is something that should at most take maybe 15 or 20 minutes. rather than sitting down and going, okay, well, today I need to choose my niche. Well, that could be a very overwhelming action, project and it might take an hour, it might take 2 hours, it might take a few hours to go through the whole process and do some brainstorming and talk to some different people. So maybe the next action is, oh, well, I just need to listen to that, that first segment about choosing your topic inside of the academy. Or I need to, maybe ask some of the next action is to go and talk to my best friend about, well, what are the things you think I'm good at? What are the things you depend on me on? What are the things to depend on me for? What are the things that you think that I'm passionate about, to get that feedback from someone else? So just coming up with, well, what is that thing that I could sit down and do in the next 20 minutes? And, sometimes the thing that I have to do to actually start getting, because, I avoid sitting down in my chair and actually, putting the fingers on the keyboard and start, say, outlining some new content for one of our products. And the reason being is because I've, got the whole thing in my mind of what the outcome needs to be. And I start thinking about all the expectations of the people and the students that are going to be consuming that. Rather than what I should be doing is in that moment just thinking about, okay, I just need to sit down at the keyboard right now and spend 15 minutes just dumping all the ideas for this particular module or episode or whatever into a mind map. And let's just do that for the next 15 minutes. Let's just focus on the starting and not on the outcome or on the finishing. And, it's also important not to get distracted and multitask, but just to focus on that one next action. I'm just getting started with that and do maybe like a 15-minute sprint. Don't edit yourself. Don't think about the outcome that has to be. Just spend 15 minutes sprinting through and doing whatever you can, and then give yourself permission to stop and then just, take the next step from there. But that's something that helps me a lot, is to focus on the starting and not on the finishing.
Yeah, and for me with the multitasking thing, I don't answer the phone, I don't look at email or anything. I don't even answer the door if somebody knocks on the door while I'm in my, let's say, starting mode or the next action mode. The only thing I do sometimes give a pass is Jay gets a pass on Skype. But if I'm writing or creating content, I usually turn everything off because I need to not be distracted. But that's the big thing. I know that we talked maybe a couple of years ago, we stopped doing the whole multitasking thing as much as possible. There's certain tasks that I do where I might have Skype open to a couple of people while I'm checking email or something that's kind of dull to me anyway. But if I'm actually doing like really important next action stuff, I definitely don't do the multitasking as well.
The next strategy for overcoming procrastination is just-in-time learning. And you've probably heard us talk about this before, but it's extremely, extremely important. So, we felt like it was a good thing to go ahead and mention here right now, because whether, you're trying to overcome overwhelm or overcome procrastination, overcome, being spread too thin in too many directions, or you've got that big, you've got a big mess on your desk because you've got all kinds of courses and different things that are taking your attention that you're trying to get through. Just-in-time learning is one of the most important things that any internet entrepreneur can learn. And it simply goes like this. You only spend time learning the things that apply immediately to what you're going to do next. So that is to say, unless you can put it into action on whatever the most important things for your business are right now, then you shouldn't be reading that blog post. You shouldn't be reading that email newsletter. You shouldn't be buying that course. You shouldn't be reading that next, that book or whatever the case may be. And, we like the new and shiny. A lot of times entrepreneurs have some degree of maybe what you could call ADD. And it's like, ooh, what's this thing over here? Let's go look at that. And often it's just a great way to avoid what it is that we need to be doing right now. So it's just a form of procrastination in the end. So as an example of this, I was at a high-level mastermind yesterday with some very high-performing people. And, of course, it's, a valuable time to learn about all kinds of different things. One idea could come out of that meeting that could make us thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And it's very easy to also at times start getting a little overwhelmed because everyone's got great ideas. Everyone's sharing their best ideas. And all of a sudden you go away from that meeting with like 20 ideas that you feel like, man, I should be doing that right now because they were getting great results out of that. But I also ask myself, well, what's one of the most important things that I'm doing right now? Well, as we record this right now, I'm in the process of teaching the traffic attraction formula course. And, so it's been just the first 2 or 3 weeks of that course. So we're in the process of, helping out those customers and clients, helping them get great results, helping them consume the content, helping them not get overwhelmed, helping them go through the process, making it a really good experience for them. And a couple of my colleagues at this mastermind, they had also just launched courses as well. So we were, I tried to bring up and pick their brains and share ideas for myself a lot about, okay, well, once you've sold the course, how do you go about having a great customer experience, retaining them as a customer, and then hence having better results for them, and then also a higher bottom line for your business at the same time. And so what I made sure to do was remember, well, here's just the 2 or 3 things that I learned about maybe how to handle some customer service a little bit better, or how to organize and deliver the content a little bit better. And those are the things that I tried to pull away from the meeting as far as just-in-time learning, things that I'm putting into action right now, today, this week, in the next few days, because that's something that's very pertinent to me.
Yeah, this just-in-time learning will totally change your life, because most likely you're like I was, a constant input, no action learner instead of just a just-in-time learner. Because at any given time, I knew about 10 times more than I needed to know, and somehow I was always unsure at what I needed to do the most. When I felt overwhelmed, I just learned more instead of figuring out what was the first or the next step.
Yeah, otherwise you're just distracting yourself, you're just overwhelming yourself more, and it might have that temporary, in the moment kind of feeling of satisfaction, because learning is good. It is good to be a lifetime learner, and if you learn something, you go, oh wow, cool, and you can kind of feel good about yourself. But in the end, if it's putting off that day of action, then it's not helpful to you or the people that you're going to be helping out once you do take action. All right, the next strategy is to set up some form of accountability. And this is just, again, part of human nature. I mean, I firmly believe we're not meant to just be in isolation and act alone in a vacuum. Even though internet business, we talk a lot about being, building a business that can work without having to have dollars for hours, maybe consulting people one-on-one, or going to a brick and mortar business where you're interacting with customers. I mean, those are things that we do believe in, but at the same time, if you're not careful, you end up in this kind of isolation of sitting in your office, it's you and your computer, and trying to make some things happen every day. And at some point, it is important for us to have that interaction with other people. So one thing that I think can really help when it comes to just accountability is to not feel like you're in it alone. To find a partner, find a community, find a mastermind. I've had several different businesses over the last several years, and it's interesting to think back over the ones that have made the most progress at different times. And I firmly believe that one of the reasons I internet business mastered, even though it wasn't planned to necessarily become, this big primary pursuit for me in the beginning, 5 or 6 years ago when we started it, it always seemed to make the most progression. I think that's because I had a really good business partner that I was working with, somebody that I was on the phone with every day, on Skype with every day, had regular meetings every week. We were planning things together. I knew that when we had to record, he was going to be there, I was going to be there, somebody to bounce ideas off of, et cetera, et cetera. So having a partner, or at least a community or a mastermind, and we talk about masterminds a lot. We talk about going and finding a meetup group, or going and finding a club, or starting one. And whether that's an internet marketing based one, or maybe you start a meetup. I mean, if your topic is knitting, well, maybe you start a meetup about knitting. Or if your topic is accounting for small businesses, well, maybe start a small business meetup, or a small business accounting meetup, so that you can interact with your customers, your potential customers, get feedback and ideas from them, have them get excited about the things you're sharing with them. But don't operate in a vacuum.
Well, I know that I really dig your partner. That guy's cool. Slightly handsome, too. Nice. This is one of the main reasons for the mastermind community and the academy, to make it so that you can get accountability and community with other crazy entrepreneurs just like you. And one of the things that we would do in our personal mastermind group that I'm here in Salt Lake is we would be able to say, okay, by next time I'm going to have this done. And then everybody, when we get back, goes, okay, did you get that thing done? So everybody's kind of competitive in there. So they don't want to be the one guy that didn't get stuff done. So, that really helps getting that action taking is knowing that there's a group of people going to be looking at you going, come on, man, you didn't get that done?
Right. Yeah, accountability is important, and you can set up some rewards and consequences. I mean, just the fact that, you know you're going to be going and reviewing your goals with other people is helpful. We go every quarter to a strategic coach group where we review goals over our last quarter. We share them with other people. We share them with each other. We set new goals. I know that definitely holds me accountable to things. And you can even go a little further and set up, find an accountability buddy inside of the academy or your local mastermind and tell them, it's like, look, here's my goal for the next month or the next week. If I get it done, I'm going to reward myself with, going out to one of my favorite restaurants. Or if I don't do it, I'm going to send you to eat out at one of your favorite restaurants. I'll give you a gift certificate or whatever. So there's kind of a reward consequence thing that you can try as well.
Yeah, my old writing buddy and I used to race to see who could get 100 pages written each week. And whoever got there first got to be taken to lunch by the other one on Fridays when we'd meet up and mastermind.
That's a great idea.
So it was always like, okay, Monday, I'm like going, okay, how fast can I get to this? And the whole day I would be anxious, and Tuesday I'd be anxious going, oh, I hope he doesn't beat me, just so that he could pay for lunch instead of me.
Yeah, a little competition, it doesn't hurt. It can definitely motivate. The next thing is to remember, and this is something we like saying a lot in the academy, the important thing is progress, not perfection. And this next one is for me more than anyone, because definitely perfectionism is something that bites me from time to time. It really... And, as confident as we may sound on the episodes when we're talking or in the content that we create, there's definitely times when, I'm sitting down to outline stuff for the academy, and all of a sudden I just feel all this pressure, mostly that I'm putting on myself, about how good the content has to be, or how much people are going to be depending on that content. And all of a sudden you can get a little crushing, and then you just don't want to do anything. You're like, well, if it can't be perfect, I shouldn't do it at all then. And that's just a personal thing that I have to struggle with every once in a while. As an example, I've talked on the show about this summer how I got the fracture in my tibia, and I've been doing some knee rehab over the last few months. I'm still working on that. Actually, there's been a few extra things that we're needing to work on with that. But for about a month there, where I got really busy with the launch, and I was finding it hard to try to do all. My physical therapist has given me this list of exercises. There's a bunch of stretches, and then getting down to the gym and doing some elliptical and doing some strengthening of my leg and things like that. And I got to a point where I was having a hard time finding the time and motivation to do all of those things that I was supposed to do in a day. And so it was almost like, well, if I can't do all of them, then I'm not going to do any of them at all. And, sad to say that for 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't do any of them at all. And then I finally knew, it's like, man, this is not good. I got to get back into it. And so I immediately set up an appointment with my physical therapist for accountability, nothing else. I knew what I needed to do, but I'm like, okay, well, I know that if I got to go see her, then I'm going to do it, and it's going to hold me accountable. And also, and then I just admitted to her, I said, look, I'm sorry, like this perfectionism thing kicked in. She's like, you know what, that's okay. And if nothing else, just do the stretching, because the stretching is really, really important to get that full range of motion back in your knee. So, it's okay if you can't get down to the gym every single day to do the strengthening. At least make sure you do these couple stretches, because these are going to be important. And so, now I've been giving myself permission. It's like, look, if I can't do them all every day, that's okay. I'll just do these 2 at the very least. And but that way, at least I keep the momentum, I keep the consistency. And so, allow yourself to take that one imperfect step. You don't have to think about the whole process and making it perfect. Allow yourself to take that one next imperfect step towards the whole. An imperfect job completed now is always going to be better than that perfect job that never happens. Because if it never happens, then you don't get the results. You don't get to, have that increase in confidence. You don't get to have that increase in success and fulfillment for yourself, that increase in control for you and your family. And just remember, you can always refine things later.
Yeah, in our world, our community actually helps us see what didn't happen right, because they'll just tell us. And that really helps us. They actually help us make it right, instead of us taking forever trying to make sure every aspect of everything we do is perfect. So, if a link is broken or anything happens like that, somebody tells us right away and we get it fixed. And sometimes, we can spend forever trying to think of every aspect of how somebody's going to, let's say, use our content or use our site. And, if we actually did that and just thought of every possible way, then things wouldn't get done ever, really, because you can always go, oh, but what if somebody does this? Well, okay, let's spend 3 weeks trying to make sure that, if one person happens to do it this way, then it'll be taken care of. Whereas there are times too when we'll discuss projects and, oh, well, let's do this and this and this. And we finally go, nope, we don't have time for those couple of things. I guess if the community says, hey, we need it to do this thing, we'll just fix it then. And then 2 years later, nobody even asked for it. And that's when I think, oh, I'm so glad we didn't spend 3 weeks trying to set something up that nobody ever even needed in 2 years after it went up. And that's just one of those examples of, just that progress, not perfection. Just put something up and, see if there's these little anomalies or other things that might happen. Just get it up instead.
Absolutely. The next strategy is to be aware of and rephrase the voice that's in your head. I mean, every single day, our actions are partially dictated by the what some people call self-talk, or what some people call internal beliefs, or just the programming that's inside of our mind that's a result of our lives and the way we've lived, and maybe a little bit of genetics and just things that we've either correctly or often erroneously been taught or taught ourselves that are quote unquote true, but that really aren't necessarily the case. So I might tell myself, well, unless I cross every T and dot every I and make all these videos perfect, we're going to lose every customer that we have. And that's just not a true thing, even though in the moment emotionally it might feel true. It's like, oh, well, I got to be absolutely perfect, or, nobody's going to want to buy my stuff. And so there's this, this should statement that comes out. Well, my videos should be absolutely perfect. But you have to be careful, because should is a very poisonous word. I actually try to be very aware now of either verbally or internally when I say the word should. I should do this, or I have to do that. And actually, whenever I sense myself saying I should, I try to remind myself of, I try to rephrase that to like, no, I choose to do this. I want to do this. Instead of it being about, well, my video should be perfect. I try to just say something like, remind myself about why I'm actually going to do it. Well, no, I choose to sit down and make these videos as good as I can right now, because I want to help other people have success and fulfillment and new levels of freedom in their own business. And I remind myself of my definite major purpose and the reasons why I enjoy doing what I do, so that now instead of it being I should, it becomes I choose to do this because, or I want to do this because. And so, when I sit down to record an episode of the podcast, I know something that I do is I try to think about just that one person even that I might be helping. Maybe I try to think of a friend or a colleague or a student or, a client in the recent past that has been helped, and just think about, how grateful they were for the information, and just imagine, well, I'm just talking to that one person, and, they're going to be thrilled with what it is that I deliver. And historically, all the facts seem to be that, for the most part, people love what it is that we put out there. And no, it's not that our customers are expecting perfection of us and that they're all going to leave us if we're not absolutely perfect. So be very aware of that voice of dissent in your head and those beliefs, that self-talk. And if you ever feel yourself thinking, or even hear yourself saying, well, I should do this, try to think, is there a way I can rephrase that so that it's more of a truthful statement, rather than, because the problem is I should is often based on false expectations. False expectations that we think we're perceiving from others. I know there's times where I feel like I'm perceiving an expectation from our customers, or feel like I'm perceiving an expectation even from Sterling, that it's actually not true at all. It's just, for some reason, I'm placing that on myself, and that turns into all these I should statements. And when I stop the I should statements, and I'm able to renegotiate those expectations in my head and go, okay, well, what's actually probably true here? And, maybe I even talk to a customer, maybe I even talk to Sterling and renegotiate that expectation. So I can turn that I should statement into a, well, I choose to do this because, this is what my customers, they're usually thrilled with this. And this is why I want to do this for them. Or I choose to do this because this is what Sterling and I have decided together is the next best action. And we renegotiated something reasonable for both of us. And that can help remove the crushing feeling that can come along with that, and hence allow you to say, go ahead and take the next action rather than procrastinating because it just feels too overwhelming to take that next step.
Well, and let's give an example right now. That thought in your head of I should buy everything on Sterling's Christmas list could probably be renegotiated to I want to.
I want to buy all of these.
Everything on that list, let's just get that. That to Amazon wish list. There it is.
Okay, let's renegotiate the
See, I worked you right through it. You're fine.
I'm going to renegotiate the expectation. Can I get 19 out of 20 of the items rather than all 20? Do I have to be a perfectionist and go for all 20? I'll just get you 19 of the 20.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so 5 strategies there for overcoming procrastination. Focus on starting, not on finishing. Remember, just-in-time learning, very, very critical. Set up some accountability, some community, some people to interact with and alleviate that isolation. Have people to bounce the ideas off of and to hold your feet to the fire sometimes and know that they're going to ask you, so how did that go? Number 4, remember, the important thing is progress, not perfection. Allow yourself to take that first imperfect step, that next imperfect step towards the result that you want. And then finally, be aware of and rephrase the voice in your head, particularly when you find yourself going, I should do this, I should do that, I should, because it's very, very draining. So go ahead and even just choose one of those things. Hopefully one of those, should have stuck out to you like, yeah, you know what, the perfectionism thing really gets me, or yeah, I get distracted with all my different learning. Just choose one that seems that it's appropriate for you, and then see if you can't set some kind of new habit or some next action that you can do. Say, okay, you know what? I'm going to analyze all the learning that I have in front of me right now, and I'm going to cut it down to just the stuff that's applicable to what I need to do right now. Or I'm going to go out and find that mastermind or that partner. Or, I'm going to set a goal to every time I should comes to my mind this week or for the next month so I can make it a habit. I'm going to rephrase that in my mind. So just set some kind of goal or habit that you want to work on to put one of these 5 strategies into action for yourself, and you'll find that you will break the cycle of procrastination and take those next actions towards the goals and the fulfillment and the success and the happiness that you want in your life. All right, this episode's breakthrough is actually just a little something I wanted to, that we noticed in the forums. So we wanted to recognize this as a breakthrough, even though these particular individuals didn't actually post it as a breakthrough themselves. We just noticed that they were doing it and thought it was a very cool thing and definitely considered it a breakthrough. And that is that James Watt and a number of others formed a phone mastermind inside of the Academy 2.0. They used the mastermind forum to kind of find some people and get together. And then recently, James posted kind of a summary cliff notes with even a kind of a screencast video showing some of the resources that they'd shared with each other. And so just wanted to congratulate them on putting that together. And that's a great example of the kinds of community and connecting with others that can be very helpful for getting yourself to take action and stay accountable and keep moving forward. And definitely kind of actions that successful people take. So very well done on that.
Yeah, I think that taking control of your needs, getting your needs met, I guess, in the Academy Mastermind group is really super important. If you have a need for masterminding, and let's say, in this particular case, maybe nobody was in his little city that he happened to be in. He's like, hey, let's just do it all over the world together in a phone chat. I just love it when people do that.
Absolutely. So if you want to check that out, you can look there's a post inside of the forum right now. It's titled IBM 2.0 Virtual Mastermind Session Cliff Notes. And you can see some of the stuff that James shared from their mastermind session. And then he also talks about how you can take part in that if you'd like to.
And yeah, if you're not actually a member of the Academy yet, you can go to internetbusinessmasteryacademy.com and check that out.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
All right, this episode's quick tip. We wanted to pick something very specific because we just got done talking about procrastination, and one of the things we mentioned was just-in-time learning. So we didn't want to give you something to go and check out that was just going to distract you or not be applicable to where you might be at right now. So this particular quick tip should apply to anybody who resonated with any of the stuff we talked about in the episode today about being stuck, procrastination, whether it's just-in-time learning or perfectionism, whatever might be holding you back. And this is a resource. It's a free audio series that you can get from one of our most recent and top mentors. We're just finishing up a year of coaching with his program, Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach. He's got a great company and process and system for helping entrepreneurs to bust past the ceilings that they might hit in their business. In fact, that's something that you will hit at some point. We all hit them at various milestones in our business. We'll hit a ceiling, what he calls a ceiling of complexity. And that's because we've reached the boundaries or the outer limits of our current ways of thinking, our current ways of doing business, our current systems that we have. And so we have to adopt new systems and new ways of thinking and new resources and new capabilities in order to go past those ceilings. And so he teaches all kinds of great things about how to do that. We're about to sign up for a second year as well, but the coaching program is actually not what we're wanting to tell you about. It's this free audio series that you can get by going to strategiccoach.com, and it's the Strategic Coach Starter Kit. And at the end, he does talk about the program and if you want to sign up, but this is worth just getting just to listen to the audios because they're absolutely free. In fact, you can't even sign up for his coaching program unless you're making $100,000 or more a year already. But this is just incredibly invaluable information. Whatever point you're at in your business, it's worth going there. You can go to strategiccoach.com, click on Strategic Coach Starter Kit, and that brings you to a little opt-in form. You do have to, put in your name and email and a couple things, but it's absolutely worth it. Again, just to get that series, listen through it, and you can you can put it onto your iPod, take it with you, whatever the case may be. But just highly recommend checking that out.
Now, if you'd like dozens of other resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use them. To get a 30-day no-risk trial membership to the Internet Business Mastery Academy, visit freeaudiogift.com. That's it for this episode of Internet Business Mastery. Until next time, we wish you ultimate success in your internet business.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5 and the purveyors of freedom and fulfillment, Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular audio programs ever. The 3 Pillars of Designing Your Ultimate Internet Lifestyle. Visit freeaudiogift.com now and sign up for the free weekly Internet Business Mastery email newsletter. And you'll get instant access to this life-changing audio presentation, pulled directly from the content of the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freeaudiogift.com. Internet Business Mastery. Free your mind.